Thank you all for joining us. Let's talk about IKEA Retail's approach to building a powerful recommendations engine. Before we get into the details, I'll briefly introduce myself and my co speaker today. My name is Pallav Mehta. I'm a product manager in Cloud AI, and I'm joined today by Albert Bertelsen, Head of Engineering of Edge at the IKEA Group.
Thanks for having me, Paolo.
Thank you for joining us. So let's talk briefly about what is recommendations AI. Now, the way in which shoppers are looking to deliver products has evolved, and that change has particularly been accelerated over the last 2 years. Google's product discovery solutions help meet these customer needs through three products: Vision Product Search, which can allow both shoppers and retail store associates to quickly discover products that match images on their mobile devices, leveraging machine learning; Recommendations AI, which enables retailers to deliver highly personalized recommendations at scale across channels; and Retail Search, which provides Google quality search results on a retailer's own website and mobile applications. Google has spent years delivering recommended content across flagship properties such as Google Ads, Google Search, and YouTube. Recommendations AI draws on that experience to deliver personalized recommendations that suit each customer's tastes and preferences across most touchpoints. Recommendations AI uses Google's latest machine learning architectures, which dynamically adapt to real time changes in user behavior and changes in product assortment and pricing. It's a fully managed service and can take as little as a few days to get from initial experimentation to production deployment at scale, generating personalized sub 100 millisecond latency recommendations for millions of customers without requiring significant investment in pre processing data, writing ML code, maintaining pipelines, or managing infrastructure to handle traffic spikes and serve customers globally. All of that is done automatically right out of the box. And we launched Recommendations AI to GA in early 2021, but that doesn't mean that we've slowed down on improvements to the product. In fact, the enthusiasm we've seen from customers like IKEA has redoubled our commitment to making Recommendations AI the best performing recommendations engine in the world. Some of the things we've been working on since our GA launch include massive performance improvements to all our ML models, faster model training, and a unified data ingestion flow and admin experience for retail search and recommendations AI. We have many more improvements in the works that will soon be available widely to all of our customers. But for the rest of this conversation, let's hear from Albert's experience deploying recommendations AI at IKEA. Albert, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with recommendations AI?
Yeah, so in early 2020, we had some new challenges with the pandemic, and we started looking for new options on how to tackle these challenges. And at that time, we got in contact with your team, Palav, and we started working with you to explore new ways to work with product recommendations. And this also altered our decision-making process, and we got some great results out of this eventually. And so the key challenge that we were working with was the pandemic, which altered both customer behavior and also the business needs on how we needed to operate and how to present our customers with products that would be interesting to them. And this led to a very rapid change in so many ways. So one of the key things to work with here was that we needed new options, many options, and we needed options fast. So we started looking into how we could find ways to work around that, both with internal development, looking with various vendor options, and we got this opportunity to work with the Rex AI team, and that was really a good starting point for us in the sense that it had all these fundamental aspects of flexibility that we needed at the time. So this is really cloud computing at its best, where you have a very low boundary for entry, and you can experiment with lots of different options. Uh, and this collaboration was a huge benefit for us. So it gave us the ability to experiment and learn a lot. And this mainly accelerated our learning process, and that those learnings could then be used to enhance our systems even further and make sure that we catered to our customer needs and made sure that we could recommend products that were available to our customers, and gave those the best furnishing solutions.
Albert, can you tell us a little bit about the scale of the testing that you did with recommendations AI? Was it just a handful of tests, or was it a lot more than that?
No, it was a lot more than that. So, in our previous way of working, we did perhaps 5 to 10 tests per tertial to evaluate our developments. But once we started with Rex AI, we moved into 5 to 10 experiments per week instead, and evaluated a lot more options much more aggressively. And this became a need due to the fact that when working with personalized recommendations, it was a lot harder to evaluate quality based on a few questionnaires to customers or input from stakeholders. So we really needed a much bigger data set to draw conclusions from, which meant that we moved into this very much more scientific process of evaluating all features with A/B testing.
Were there any big surprises as you were going through this testing?
Yeah, quite a few. We've had previous opinions about what works in some places and what shouldn't work in other places. And with a new set of options, we basically threw a lot of our pre-existing knowledge out the window and started building from scratch again, and making sure that we evaluated everything very, very properly and meticulously. We figured out how it was a very important aspect of the recommendations to have flexibility and try different things at different places in the customer journey. We also saw how the connection between the messaging of what we said that we were displaying in combination with the algorithms presenting the recommendations, how that was also a very important part of the customer journey.
Now, recommendations AI offers a couple of different recommendation models and then lots of configuration options on top of that. Can you tell us a little bit about how you decided which recommendations to keep in which placement and which were performing well versus not?
Yeah, so with lots of options, you have lots of choices to make as well, and we started out with our baseline, and from there we started switching in and switching out different models, and we also saw that it's not easy to say that one model is always better than some other model. So eventually, we also started to look at different scenarios for when we wanted a specific set of recommendations and when to switch to other types of recommendations at the same place, to make sure that we always had the best set of recommendations for the customer in their journey.
I remember there was an interesting period when recommendations AI was either recommending very cheap products or very expensive products, and you found that surprising. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the situation and how that changed your thinking?
Yeah, so we realized in this journey that there can be trade-offs to make in terms of the options you present to the customer. Do you want to offer them something cheap that requires them very low effort to evaluate if they want, or just add in the basket as just an additional purchase? Or do you want to make sure that you give them the best furnishing solution to bring home, and also make sure that they feel that they are getting home furnishing suggestions and solutions that they couldn't get somewhere else. So for us to offer something that had a bit of uniqueness in terms of IKEA products, rather than just additional add-on sales of stuff they can get anywhere.
What does the future of personalization look like at IKEA?
Uh, I think today we rely a lot on the customer's ability to imagine combinations. I think a very attractive future would be if we could actually show them a good way, in a good way, how these solutions look together. So rather than just recommending an additional table to the sofa, actually showing them how that table and that sofa looks together. So basically to inspire the customers, and also make sure that there is a lower effort on their side to figure out and understand how this solution looks as a combination to them.
It's very interesting. We've talked a lot about your journey. We'd love to learn a little bit about the business impact of some of these recommendations at IKEA. Could you tell us a little about that, Albert?
Yeah, sure. So the business impact and the numbers that you see here, they are based on the improvements from the systems we used to have. So we were pretty happy with those before we started evaluating Rex AI and how to combine those options. But one thing that we very early realized was that when we had more options and higher quality recommendations, it actually made sense to have more of them. So rather than having bad recommendations that were tiresome to the customer, we saw that presenting better options and more of these good options engaged the customer, and also made them look at more of these products and evaluate them properly. And that was a big impact in terms of customer engagement on the site. And it also led to solid improvements in average order value.
That's actually the smallest number on the screen, but the most interesting one to me because personalization engines often get a lot of criticism for cannibalizing other user experiences in the shopper's digital journey. But in your case, it seems like you saw a 2% increase in average order value globally across IKEA's online business. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, and to your point here, I think that's a very key thing to understand, that you cannot use optimization tools to chase a few add to carts here or a few clicks there. You want to look at the entire customer journey and compare those in a very scientific and meticulous way, because otherwise you will not get the results that you want.
These are some amazing results, and we're so happy to have worked with you in helping achieve these with IKEA. It would really help us to get a better sense of stepping back from this journey over the last year and a half together. Your key takeaways from deploying recommendations at IKEA.
Yeah, so I think a good starting point is to make sure that you have the proper way to analyze the data you get, and to get a very scientific approach to that. Otherwise, personalization or evaluation of these types of algorithms will not give you the impact that you're looking for. Mixing and matching model combinations is also a very interesting topic. When you have more options, don't assume that one option is always the best. Figure out if there are places where you can, for certain customers, switch one for another, and see which ones works best for which type of customer. Uh, And the results, you need to be very meticulous about how you evaluate the results. And you want to make sure that you're not picking your best guesses. Make sure that you're really looking at the numbers, and when in doubt, retest. Personalization is one of these things that it can be a bit hard to guess what is better or not. So you need to have a very good process for evaluating those and making sure that you get the best benefits. And speed. Today's customers, they change behavior, new circumstances on the business. You need to have lots of options. You need to be able to evaluate them quickly. You need to be able to move at that speed to avoid becoming reactive. That would be my best tips.
I'm sure this is not just helpful for everyone listening. This was incredibly helpful for the Recommendations AI team over the last year and a half as we've been collaborating and learning from your feedback, Albert, and learning from the deployment at IKEA to make the Recommendations AI product better. So thank you so much for partnering with us throughout that process. For those of you who are looking to learn more about Recommendations AI or get started, please go to cloud.google.com/recommendations to learn more about the product, or you can learn about product discovery at cloud.google.com/solutions/retail product discovery. Until then, thank you so much for joining us, Albert. Your time has been very valuable, and this has been a fantastic discussion. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for the collaboration, Paolo.